Well, taking a victory lap is a young man that has been on a tear in 2022 at Larry Law's Langley Speedway. He's won 5 limited late model races. And just this past weekend, a couple of twin 35s started on the pole in the first one, but got beat by, well, one of them, I think you got beat by your uncle, right, Ryley?
In the second one, yeah, he rode
Yeah.
around in the first one to save his tires, and he just had a better shot than me from the go.
This is Ryley Music, who joins us to take a victory lap here on Wind Tunnel. At age 14, Ryley, you've got the rookie stripes on the back of your limited late model, but you have tons of experience at Langley, uh, several championships in the Bandolero class. And you know what we used to call young men like you? Track brats, because you grew up around racing all the way back to your grandfather, shall I say, a legend. Tell me a little about how you got attracted to the game the way that you are now, pursuing a career like your grandpa's.
So it really started. Well, it's hard to say. He worked for Doug Gotze, and he was keeping all Doug Gotze stuff up, and that stayed right next door in the shop my car's in. Right where my car sat was where Doug Gotze stuff sat. So he worked on that when I was growing up, and then he went away and did some stuff with Rev for Daniel Suarez and all that. And about that time, Chris Florian came over with the go-kart and said, if y'all want to race, here it is. If y'all don't race, it sits here. So we got a free go-kart to start out with, and it really just started off from there. And we raced with that for a couple years, and we got the Bandolero. And he said that's when I really started to learn everything. My parents said it's not just going to be your grandfather working on it. If you don't work on it, you don't race. So that's really where I really got tight with racing. And then I helped Brendan out for a couple. I'm still helping Brendan out, but I go over there and help at the shop and just learn as much as I can.
Yeah, Butterbean. You possess an abiding passion to make it to the big time. He's a little bit ahead of you, but what is some of the best advice that old Butterbean has given you?
Ooh, some of the best advice. Really, he just be easy, like be smooth and be easy, which that's something Granddad's always taught him too. So really everything he's taught me, Granddad's taught him and taught me both the same way. So, and it's really, we both get all our advice from Granddad.
What's it mean to you to have that sort of relationship with your grandpa?
It's huge because I sit around and just ask him a lot. How was this year when you raced, or what was this all like? I just ask him questions like that, just trying to have a conversation and learn some stuff from back in the day. So it's really cool to have that special of a relationship with my grandfather, and learning his racing background is really cool to me.
Well, he is definitely old school too, because one of the first things that he insisted that you do is not only work on what you do turning left at the racetrack, but getting to understand everything about the car that you're driving. How enjoyable has that been? A, and B, how intimidating was it in the beginning?
So really, I enjoy working in the shop a lot. A lot of people don't enjoy it, but it's like when I work at the Queens, it's me and Brendan always have a good time. When I come home and work at our shop, me, Granddad, and Sean Malbeck, we always joke around and have fun while we work on the car. So it's always just about having fun. And I'll tell you, working in the shop is what makes half of the fun. And what was the other part of the question?
And just for you, how much, not only how much fun was it, but how much was it like drinking out of a fire hydrant to begin with, where he had to get all this knowledge real quick because you have shot up the ladder. Bandoleros to limited late models is quite the jump, young man.
It's a huge jump, but really how I feel like how I progressed real quick, and I will give a little bit to iRacing. iRacing helps you learn a lot of that, but Mostly just going. I go to the racetrack every week. It doesn't matter what racetrack it is. If it's Langley, if it's Dominion, I'm always at a racetrack. But I sit there and I watch and I listen to the conversations that are had just so I can learn what I could do better. Like me and Brendan, we'll go to a test day. Granddad will go watch 3 and 4, and I'll go watch 1 and 2, and I can tell you what I see from the race car. And Brendan is telling me what he feels, and I'm seeing the exact same thing.
So at this point in your career, rookie season and limited late models, you're a proven winner there. Do you have a timetable, Ryley, for what the next step would be in your racing career at the ripe old age of 14?
I don't really have no plans. I really am just going along with going with the flow, really. So if something happens and I get to race a couple late model races this year or next year, it'll be cool. I'm hoping I can get sponsorship and go race Carteret for the 10 grand to win in December. But it's just rolling with the flow right now. Whatever happens, happens. I'm just here to have a good time.
You're in a heartland for short track racing there in the Virginia area. You mentioned Dominion, a little further north from Langley, and so many great racers that are coming out of there, South Boston, etc. Is there one short track driver that you try to pattern your style after?
My grandfather, completely after my grandfather.
And I find that interesting because, as I understand it, your granddad had all but hung up his helmet before you were born.
He quit 3 years before I was born, but I've only got to see him drive a race car once, and that was 2013. So about 9 years ago. That was the only time I got to see him drive a race car. And he he raced Mark Work's car one time, and I think I watched that. That was those were the only 2 times I've seen him drive a race car.
How special is it to have that kind of relationship with your grandpa?
Very, very special.
It's just, to me, Langley, especially the limited sportsman series, seems to be a family affair. And then you bring the Queens into it, and your granddad calling the shots over there. And Brendan is just nonstop praising what he's learned from your granddad. Having family and friends surrounding you throughout your racing career, that takes a special attitude, because I've always said it's one thing to go, compete at a racetrack, like, let's say, in trucks or Xfinity or even in Cup, but it's another thing to do it each and every week in front of your friends and family. And that's what short track racers such as yourself or Butterbean do each and every week. And I would think that takes a special relationship, that the people that are cheering you on are also, well, kids and guys you're going to school with or going out and working on a race car with. I mean, this is your extended family there.
It really is. Like, it's crazy because I'm racing against 2 family members, Craig and Doug, my uncle and cousin, and then hopefully I get to race with Brendan. So, but like that whole family, we treat each other like family. Like, I go over there and I feel like I'm right at home with them, because Robin and Mike Queen, they just treat me like family. Everybody over there.
All right. So I would think 2 youngsters such as you and Brendan have probably had a little fun now and again, not only comparing notes, but challenging each other. So, tell me a little bit about some of the smack talk. Do you, remind him that when you finally move up to the late models, you're going to kick his fanny?
No, not really. Because I talked before I moved up to the limit. I talked a lot of trash because he said, "Oh, it's hot in the car and everything," and I'm like, "Oh, it can't be that bad." I get in the car and I'm like, "Dang, I'm sorry for all them years I joked around with you." But we don't really have competitive talks. We just talk about what happened over the weekend. We look forward to racing against each other more than less, but there's not really much smack. But like, we also do a lot of competitive stuff. Like, we try hitting golf balls the farthest at the shop, just messing around.
All right. Who's got the edge going into the 4th of July in terms of the longest drive?
I think I hit it the farthest.
All right. I'm going to call him and find out, see if he backs you up. You know that.
He might have hit it farther. I don't remember exactly. But I think I hit it the farthest.
Listen, we wish you nothing but the very best. I know you've set your sights on the Advanced Auto Parts NASCAR Weekly Racing Series title in the limited late models at Langley. And you mentioned that $10,000 to win championship race you want to go after. You want to put a shout out to some of my listeners that maybe would like to support you in that effort. Where can they go to pledge a little moolah to get Ryley Music set up to go after that 10K?
So they could go follow my Instagram at Ryley Music Racing or my Facebook, which is also at Ryley Music Racing. Really simple, just my name and then racing. So try and keep everything simple.
Well, Ryley, you do a great job at it. I thoroughly enjoy watching you on Flow Racing and watching the way that you have honed your racecraft at such an early age. And yeah, all right, your uncle may have beat you in the second one because he held back a little bit, but you know what? Don't get mad. Just get even. Win twice as many. Thanks so much for joining me here inside the wind tunnel today.
Thank you for having me on.